Hi, I am Andrew D Huberman, and today I want to share some insights into optimizing your day, improving your creativity, managing distractions, and learning how to get the most out of both your cognitive and physical resources. Life in the modern world is filled with distractions. Between social media, constant notifications, and an ever-increasing influx of information, it has become harder than ever to focus, be productive, and create. However, with some adjustments to the way we approach our daily routines, we can dramatically increase our efficiency, creativity, and overall well-being. In this guide, I will take you through the concepts I consider essential for improving your mental and physical performance, ranging from understanding individualized routines to embracing transitions between tasks, managing distractions, and maximizing focus during high-energy periods. At the same time, I will introduce you to important tools that can help you grow not only in your personal and professional life, but also in the way you think, solve problems, and approach creative endeavors. The power of individualized day architecture. The concept of day architecture speaks to the intentional design of how we structure our time and energy throughout the day. It's about creating a schedule that aligns with our personal rhythms, goals, and needs, rather than trying to follow a generic routine based on someone else's success. The idea is simple. Our daily lives can be crafted in a way that maximizes our productivity, creativity, and well-being. However, many of us fall into the trap of trying to copy the routines of highly successful individuals, assuming that doing so will lead to the same level of achievement. The reality, though, is that success is not determined by a specific set of habits or rituals. The routines that work for one person may not work for another, and the key lies in designing a day that fits our unique needs. When we look at the daily routines of high achievers, we often see a common thread: discipline, structure, and focus. Yet when we try to replicate these routines, we may find that they don't work for us. For example, waking up early and following a regimented schedule may work well for some, but for others, this kind of structure can feel restrictive or even counterproductive. There are also those who thrive in less structured environments, where periods of spontaneity and creativity take precedence over rigid routines. Ultimately, there is no single formula for success, and what works for one person may not work for another. This is where the idea of individualized day architecture comes into play. It's about understanding that there is no universal correct routine. Instead of looking to others for the answer, we need to turn inward and explore our own natural rhythms, energy levels, and work styles. This requires experimenting with different approaches and observing how they affect our productivity and well-being. By doing so, we can design a schedule that works specifically for us, one that allows us to harness our strengths and minimize our weaknesses. The most important aspect of day architecture is the freedom to experiment and adjust. It's not about adhering to a rigid routine, but rather about finding a structure that feels organic and supportive. Over time, our needs and circumstances may change, and our routines should evolve to accommodate these shifts. Whether it's through trial and error or simply paying attention to our own energy levels and preferences, designing a routine is an ongoing process of discovery and refinement. In considering the daily rituals of famous creatives and high achievers, we can learn valuable lessons, not from mimicking their exact routines, but from understanding the principles behind their approaches. Some individuals find success through strict structure, while others thrive in a more flexible environment. The key takeaway is that each person's process is unique, and the most effective routines are those that cater to individual strengths, preferences, and goals. Take, for example, the routines of well-known artists, scientists, and writers, many of which are detailed in the book Daily Rituals by Mason Curry. These figures, ranging from Beethoven to Haruki Murakami, followed routines that reflected their personal needs and creative processes. Some had highly structured days, while others worked in bursts of creativity. Yet all of them shared the understanding that their routines were designed with a purpose, to help them engage with their work in a way that felt most natural to them. One important insight that emerges from these examples is that day architecture isn't about copying someone else's habits. It's about understanding how we function best and building a routine around that understanding. If we are most productive in the morning, we can schedule our most demanding tasks during that time. If we feel more creative in the afternoon or evening, We can structure our days to allow for bursts of creative energy during those hours. There is no right or wrong approach. There is only what works for us. An individualized approach to day architecture also involves recognizing the importance of balance. Productivity and creativity aren't sustainable without periods of rest and recovery. Many people make the mistake of overloading their days with tasks, thinking that success is a result of sheer hustle. However, the truth is that we need time to recharge in order to perform at our best. Building rest into our routines is just as important as staying focused and productive. Designing our days also means considering our long-term goals. Whether we are working toward personal growth, career advancement, or creative fulfillment, our daily schedules should reflect the priorities that matter most to us. By aligning our routines with our values and objectives, we ensure that our time is spent meaningfully, moving us closer to the outcomes we desire. The beauty of day architecture is that it is entirely personal. There is no pressure to follow someone else's routine, and there is no need to conform to societal expectations of how a successful day should look. Instead, we can embrace the freedom to create a structure that reflects our unique needs, preferences, and aspirations. Through trial, observation, and self-awareness, we can develop a routine that feels authentic and supportive, helping us to navigate the demands of our lives while also fostering a sense of fulfillment and well-being. In conclusion, the power of individualized day architecture lies in the ability to design a routine that works for us, rather than trying to fit ourselves into a mold that has worked for others. By recognizing the importance of our own rhythms and experimenting with different approaches, we can create a daily structure that aligns with our goals, maximizes our productivity, and supports our well-being. The process of crafting our day is an ongoing journey, one that requires patience, flexibility, and a willingness to adapt. But by embracing this personalized approach, we unlock the potential for greater success, creativity, and balance in our lives. Embracing transition times. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to fall into the trap of rushing through our days, attempting to maximize every minute with one task after another. We often overlook the importance of transition periods, those brief moments between one activity and the next. Instead of embracing these short breaks to recalibrate, many people rush straight into the next task, mentally dragging along the remnants of the previous one. This approach, while seemingly productive, can actually be detrimental to our focus, energy, and overall effectiveness. In fact, managing your day effectively goes beyond just completing tasks. It involves recognizing the power of transition periods and using them to create a more mindful, intentional approach to your work. When we transition from one task to another without any mental reset, we risk carrying over the stress, distractions, or fatigue from the previous task into the next one. This can lead to a sense of mental clutter and prevent us from fully engaging with the new activity at hand. The result is often a fragmented day where we feel scattered and unproductive, rather than in a state of focused flow. But the truth is, transition periods offer an opportunity for us to reset, refocus, and mentally prepare ourselves for the next challenge. By giving ourselves permission to pause, we create a buffer between tasks that enables us to engage more fully with each new activity. Transition periods are not about wasting time. They're about giving our minds the space to adjust. These short breaks allow us to step back from our work, reflect for a moment, and prepare for what's next. For instance, if you've been working on a writing task and need to shift to a meeting, taking a few minutes to stretch, walk, or meditate can help clear your mind. This small act of disengagement allows you to shift gears mentally, ensuring that when you return to your next task, you're not dragging mental fatigue along with you. The goal isn't simply to complete tasks, but to approach each one with focus, clarity, and energy. Without transition periods, we risk burnout and diminish our ability to perform at our best. A great example of this principle can be found in the writing routine of Ernest Hemingway, one of the most celebrated authors of the 20th century. Hemingway would always leave a sentence unfinished at the end of each writing session. This seemingly odd practice had a purpose. It provided him with a clear starting point for the next day's work. By leaving something undone, Hemingway removed the need to spend time figuring out where to begin the following day. When he returned to his writing, he didn't have to waste mental energy on starting from scratch. Instead, he picked up right where he left off, smoothly transitioning into his next task. This practice of leaving a sentence unfinished can be applied to many areas of life, not just writing. In fact, it's a great strategy for handling any complex task that requires multiple steps or sustained attention. The importance of transition periods becomes especially evident when we're dealing with more mentally taxing or complex tasks. The human brain isn't built to constantly switch from one task to another without any time to reset. The cognitive load of constantly jumping between activities can lead to mental fatigue, a decrease in productivity, and a loss of focus. But by incorporating transition periods, we can give our brains the time they need to reset, recover, and shift gears. This reset can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, stepping outside for a moment, or even doing a brief physical activity. The key is to step away from the task at hand, even if only for a few minutes, in order to create space for mental clarity. Imagine the difference between tackling a series of tasks without transition periods versus incorporating deliberate pauses. Without transition time, it's easy to feel overwhelmed as each task blurs into the next. You might find yourself mentally drained and unable to engage fully with your next activity. But by embracing transitions, you give yourself a chance to reframe your mindset and approach the next task with renewed energy and focus. This not only helps you maintain a higher level of productivity, but it also contributes to your mental well-being by preventing burnout and fostering a sense of control over your day. One of the most beneficial aspects of transition periods is that they provide an opportunity for reflection. Taking a moment to pause between tasks allows you to assess what you've accomplished and whether your approach needs adjustment. Maybe a task didn't go as planned or you encountered unexpected obstacles. The transition period gives you the time to assess the situation and decide how to proceed with the next task. Reflection during transition periods helps you course correct and ensures that you remain aligned with your broader goals. Another key benefit of transition periods is their role in maintaining creativity. When we're constantly immersed in one task after another, it can be difficult to come up with fresh ideas or creative solutions. The mind needs space to wander and reset in order to tap into its creative potential. Transition periods offer that space. Whether it's taking a walk, listening to music, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes, these breaks allow your mind to step away from the task and refresh itself. When you return to your work, you're more likely to approach it with a fresh perspective and new ideas. This principle is particularly valuable for individuals whose work involves problem-solving, brainstorming, or creative thinking. It's important to note that transition periods don't have to be long or complicated. A few minutes of deep breathing or a brief walk can have a profound impact on your mental state. In fact, shorter breaks can be even more effective than longer ones, as they allow you to reset without losing momentum. The key is consistency, making transition periods a regular part of your day so that they become an integral part of your workflow. Over time, you'll begin to notice a significant improvement in your mental clarity, focus, and overall productivity. When you embrace the importance of transition periods, you begin to realize that managing your day isn't just about cramming as many tasks as possible into a set period of time. It's about balancing activity with rest, focus with reflection, and productivity with creativity. Transition periods provide the necessary mental space to move from one task to another with ease, helping you stay energized and engaged throughout the day. By incorporating these pauses into your routine, you can avoid the mental fatigue and overwhelm that often accompany back-to-back tasks. This simple but powerful practice can be the difference between a day filled with stress and one that flows smoothly with intention and purpose. Ultimately, the secret to a more productive and fulfilling day isn't about rushing from one task to the next. It's about recognizing the value of transition periods and using them to reset, reflect, and refocus. These moments of pause are the key to maintaining mental clarity, creativity, and energy throughout your day. So the next time you complete a task, take a moment to step away, recalibrate, and prepare for the next challenge. Embrace the power of transition, and you'll find that your productivity and sense of well-being will improve, one pause at a time. Managing distractions in a distracted world. In today's fast-paced world, we find ourselves surrounded by constant distractions. Smartphones, social media, emails, text messages. These are all things that pull our attention away from the task at hand, fragmenting our focus and undermining our ability to work deeply. While technology has its benefits, it also presents significant challenges when it comes to maintaining sustained attention and concentration. Distractions are a part of our daily lives, and the truth is, they are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. However, we do have the power to learn how to manage them effectively and regain control over where we direct our attention. The key to doing this is not simply trying to avoid distractions entirely, but finding a way to harness our energy and attention in a manner that reduces the impact of these interruptions. The reality is that our brains are not designed to switch between tasks constantly. Studies have shown that multitasking, or the act of switching between tasks rapidly, is actually detrimental to our performance. When we attempt to juggle multiple tasks at once or shift our focus quickly, we exhaust our cognitive resources and experience a decline in the quality of our work. It's not just the time it takes to refocus, it's the mental energy required to switch gears that slows us down. Every time we're interrupted, it takes time and effort to get back into the flow of the task we were working on. The more frequently we switch between tasks, the more difficult it becomes to focus on any single one, and the more our productivity suffers. The first step in managing distractions is becoming aware of them. Often we are so accustomed to being interrupted by notifications, pings, and messages that we don't even realize how often it happens. Our phones buzz, our email alerts go off, and we instinctively respond, breaking our focus without even thinking. Once we start paying attention, we can begin to notice the sources of our distractions. Is it the pull of social media? A colleague dropping by your desk? Or perhaps the temptation to check your email every few minutes? By identifying the root causes of these distractions, we can start to take control over them, rather than letting them dictate our day. One of the most powerful strategies to combat distractions is setting clear boundaries. By establishing specific times during the day when we allow ourselves to check emails or browse social media, we can reduce the impact of these distractions on our work. For example, you might decide to check your email first thing in the morning, right before lunch, and then again at the end of the day, but not in between. By limiting the frequency of interruptions, you allow yourself to maintain a deeper level of focus for longer periods of time. Turning off notifications or putting your phone on Do Not Disturb mode is another effective way to minimize distractions. If you know that a certain app or website tends to pull your attention away from your work, consider using tools or apps that block those sites during specific hours to help you stay focused on what really matters. Another effective approach is to designate certain periods of the day as deep work time. Deep work refers to focused, uninterrupted time when you devote your full attention to one task. These are the moments when you are truly engaged in a project, where you are able to work at your highest level of concentration and creativity. By setting aside specific blocks of time for deep work, you create a structure for your day that prioritizes focus. During these blocks, you remove all distractions, turn off your phone, close your email, and immerse yourself fully in the task at hand. This allows you to make significant progress in less time and often produces better results than trying to work in fits and starts, constantly interrupted by outside stimuli. The key to managing distractions is not just limiting interruptions, but also creating the right environment for focused work. A cluttered desk, background noise, or even the presence of too many tasks in your mind can make it difficult to concentrate. By designing a workspace that supports focus, whether it's keeping your desk clean, using noise-canceling headphones, or even working in a designated room where distractions are minimized, you can make it easier to maintain attention on the task at hand. Additionally, it's important to structure your day in a way that aligns with your energy levels. If you're more focused in the morning, reserve that time for your most important or challenging tasks. By aligning your work with your natural rhythms, you can increase the chances of staying focused and minimizing distractions. While it's essential to limit distractions during periods of deep work, it's equally important to carve out time for rest and reflection. One of the most effective ways to recharge and reset your mind is by creating spaces of reflection. Deliberate moments when you step away from the constant flow of information and give yourself time to think and process. These moments of calm are not only helpful for mental clarity, but can also lead to some of your most creative breakthroughs. When you're not constantly engaged in task switching or consuming new information, your mind has the space to make connections, solve problems, and come up with fresh ideas. Whether it's a quiet walk outside, a few minutes of mindfulness, or simply sitting in silence, these spaces of reflection provide the mental reset needed to return to work with a clearer, more focused mind. One of the most challenging aspects of modern life is managing the constant flow of information. With so many demands on our attention, emails, meetings, social media, news, and more, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The key to avoiding burnout and maintaining a sense of mental clarity is to recognize that it's not possible to stay fully engaged all the time. We need to allow ourselves moments of disengagement, where we can step away from the noise and process our thoughts. These moments are essential for creativity, problem solving, and overall well-being. By giving ourselves permission to disconnect and reflect, we create space for new insights and fresh perspectives. Another useful technique in managing distractions is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, without judgment or distraction. When you practice mindfulness, you train your brain to focus on the task at hand and resist the urge to be pulled away by outside stimuli. This practice can be particularly effective in reducing the impact of distractions, as it helps you develop the ability to tune out distractions and return your focus to what's important. Whether it's through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply paying attention to your surroundings, mindfulness allows you to engage more deeply with your work and minimize the impact of interruptions. Incorporating these strategies into your daily routine can significantly improve your ability to manage distractions and enhance your productivity. By creating boundaries, dedicating time to deep work, and allowing space for reflection, you can take control of your attention and focus on what truly matters. While distractions will always be a part of our modern lives, it's how we respond to them that makes the difference. Rather than letting distractions derail our progress, we can learn to manage them in a way that supports our goals and helps us work more effectively. The key lies in harnessing our energy and attention in a way that reduces the impact of interruptions and allows us to engage deeply with the work that truly matters. Harnessing the power of unconscious insight. It's often in the moments of least conscious effort that our best ideas emerge. The mind has a fascinating way of working through problems and generating insights without us being fully aware of it. Have you ever had a great idea in the shower or just after waking up in the morning? This is a classic example of unconscious insight. In my research and personal experience, I have noticed that some of the best ideas come not from forcing the mind to work, but from stepping away from the problem and allowing it to percolate in the background. It's as if the mind continues to work on a problem even when we're not consciously focused on it. During these moments of disengagement, the mind can process information more freely and make connections that would have been difficult to access during focused thinking. This is why taking time for activities that don't require intense focus, like showering or going for a walk, is essential for fostering creativity. These activities give your brain the freedom to wander, and in that space, your best insights will surface. The key to tapping into these moments is to create opportunities for your mind to relax and shift gears. Don't feel like you need to be constantly engaged with your work. Sometimes, stepping away and allowing yourself to do nothing can be one of the most productive things you can do. The importance of quality over quantity. One of the most common misconceptions about productivity is that more time spent equals more output. However, this isn't true when it comes to cognitive and creative work. The key is to focus on quality over quantity. A few hours of deep, concentrated work will always outperform an entire day of distracted, unfocused effort. In sports, this concept is often referred to as training smart, not hard. Athletes don't train for endless hours because it's not the number of hours that determines performance, but the quality of training. The same principle applies to intellectual and creative work. Instead of spending endless hours working on something, focus on being present and mentally engaged during your peak energy periods. You can maximize your output by aligning your most challenging tasks with your highest energy levels. For example, if you're a morning person, try to tackle the hardest tasks first thing in the morning when your mind is fresh. If you're more energetic in the afternoon, schedule your most demanding work during that time. Structuring your day around your natural energy peaks will allow you to work more efficiently and reduce mental fatigue. Understanding and harnessing your energy peaks. Energy isn't constant throughout the day. It fluctuates in peaks and valleys. Some parts of the day are marked by high energy, while others are characterized by low energy. Understanding your energy rhythms is crucial to structuring your day in a way that aligns with your natural strengths. I recommend paying attention to your energy patterns over the course of the day. When do you feel most alert? When do you feel your energy dip? Once you have an understanding of your natural energy cycles, you can plan your day around them. This will help you maximize productivity during your peak energy times and allow for recovery during the lows. This approach is not just about managing energy in the short term, but also about cultivating a long-term strategy for sustaining high performance over time. Recognizing when you need rest, when you need deep work, and when to step away and recharge will help you stay productive and creative without burning out. The power of mental game tape. Just as athletes study their performance through video footage to improve, we can learn to study our own thought processes and performance. I call this creating a mental game tape. This involves tracking your thoughts, actions, and decisions to identify areas where you can improve. For example, let's say you've been working on a challenging problem for a few days. You might notice that your initial thoughts or solutions were quite different from your conclusions after deeper reflection. By tracking these changes over time, you can analyze the gaps between what you thought initially and what you learned later. This gap analysis helps you recognize areas where your thinking has evolved, and more importantly, it gives you insights into where to focus your energy next. By keeping track of these gaps and patterns, you're essentially developing a mental playbook. This can be applied to any area of life, whether it's a creative project, problem solving in your professional work, or personal growth. The key here is to learn from your own experiences, reflect on your progress, and use that knowledge to drive future success. However, the path to maximizing creativity, focus, and performance lies in understanding how we work best and building our days around that understanding. By embracing individualized routines, taking intentional breaks, managing distractions, and aligning our tasks with our natural energy rhythms, we can increase our productivity and achieve greater creative output. It's also essential to create time for reflection, allowing insights to surface and analyzing our mental processes in the way that athletes analyze their game footage. In a world full of distractions, the ability to focus, reflect, and prioritize quality work over quantity is more important than ever. By harnessing these principles, you can optimize your creative potential, increase your mental clarity, and achieve long-term success in your personal and professional endeavors.